Hello YouTube. So I am still working on this W209 2005 CLK500 and I got a few updates in regards to it. Just changed the oil and the filter, so it takes 8 quarts of oil. Pretty easy process. The filter is on the top, which is good. Another update, you see it's missing something. It's like a gear shifter lever. I noticed my navigation did not show the proper position, so I did pull it off, and I found that there is no antenna connected to the back of this unit, and I didn't find the antenna behind this navigation unit. And I did double check the options for that car by the VIN number, and I did not find any anything related to the navigation. So I assume one of the previous owner did upgrade the just the regular radio for this navigation unit, but for some reason he did never install the antenna. So I did purchase like $7 or $8 antenna from Amazon, remove the radio again, and I did install the antenna. By the way, I installed it like somewhere where those vents are, like underneath the dash, so it's working properly. Hopefully I didn't test it too much, but at least it found my location. So after I put everything back in place, the car did shift from drive to neutral, but not above, so it didn't go to reverse or parking. And I was struggling probably for an hour or two, just trying to troubleshoot it. I did read some. I was googling, just to see if it's like some common problem for those cars, and I found some information online related to the light switch on the brake pedal may be faulty, so the shifter doesn't get the signal when the brake pedal is depressed. Another issue was that there is no communication between the lever module, gear shifter lever module, and some other modules in the car. Another problem or possible problem mentioned was that there is a solenoid in this gear shifter. It's stuck or damaged or whatever. I decided to double check what's really happening, and I'll show you a couple tips in regards to the gear shifter problem, because obviously you cannot remove the keys if the shifter is not in park, and I'll show you like what you can do to remove the keys if in case your shift lever is stuck somewhere. And install the key. For example, I turn on the key, and right now I cannot remove the keys because I still need to make this final click. And the reason I cannot do that, it's the same as, for example, when you got the lever in park, or in drive or reverse or whatever, so any other position other than parking. So this is like a cable. This is the cable that goes inside the transmission lever. So in order to release the keys, you need to depress this this thing. Hopefully you can see something because it's quite dark in here. So you need to depress that thing, and now let me try to hold the camera. Now I can do this. I can do this final click and remove the keys. So, and in order for you to remove this like a cable from the transmission lever, at least in my W209, I needed to push it in kinda inside the inside the transmission lever assembly, and then turn it, it's either the clockwise or counterclockwise, and then you can remove it from the lever. And lever itself, it's been held by 4 bolts, 1, 2, 3, actually I'm sorry, let me take it back, by 3 bolts, 1, 2, 3. So, and in order to remove the lever, you need to remove this, or at least lift this central console. 2 bolts. How to open it? 2 bolts right there. You can see. Bolt here, and couple bolts here. Also, you're gonna need to release. It's like a locks in here, which unlock this, like you can see it like a metal shaft. So it locks and unlocks this shaft. So you need to unlock those things in order to remove this shaft. But regardless, back to the transmission lever. So I was playing with the keys, removing the connection in and out, just to try and everything what I could to put it in park. Struggling, like I told, for a couple hours at least, maybe even more. I was reading the diagnostic just to see if there are any kind of codes, saying something about like any solenoids or whatever, just any clues. And so I removed this transmission lever assembly. It was stuck in those 2 positions, so I can switch drive and neutral here. That's it. I couldn't move it even to reverse. So I decided, there is nothing much to lose. I did pry open, that thing. You can see it's been glued together. Let me try to remove it if I can. So you still can see the signs of the glue. And so I did disassemble that unit, till the last till the last bolt, pretty much. And so in order to disassemble it, I needed to remove like this rod that goes like through this plastic and metal piece, and there is a spring that actually springs this lever to go left and right. So I need to remove this one. Then I unclip this kind of C washer, and actually let me take the words back. I unscrewed those 2 screws, remove this probably like brains or whatever of this unit. Then I did remove this rod that goes all the way through the whole thing, including this lever. And what I found in the bottom, that chrome piece, which actually broke off that trim. So you can see like there are like 1, 2, 3, 4 clips. So one of the clips broke and fall inside the shifter assembly. To the very bottom is just stuck the mechanism, and so it was an easy fix pretty much. So I won't glue it back in place, because I guess Mercedes thought about something like that thing could be disassembled, because they left 4 empty space for screws. So I got some random screws, so I'm gonna screw it back in place here and put it back put it back in place. So that's the story about the transmission lever. So it's not always the solenoid or connection between the transmission lever and, you know, instrument cluster, or, you know, whatever. It could be just a piece of the debris, and it's very common for those cars when those clips break. Those bolts I took from Toyota Prius, so Toyota gonna save the Mercedes. Looks like it's pretty good fit. And by the way, to get the shifter assembly out from the car, you do not need to go underneath of the car. Everything could be done, you know, from the cabin. And just in case, for your future information or for the reference, this is the override for the shifter interlock. So in case you got any problems with the connection, blah blah blah, you can use this kind of button to switch the shifter around, because without it, it kind of simulates the shift interlock to be disengaged. Without it shifted, I mean without it pushed, you cannot move the lever. But I couldn't do that because the whole assembly or the whole mechanism, like down there, was blocked by that little piece. And that's the lever that goes like inside the transmission, that shifts actually the gears. I'm gonna try to install this. Bushing inside this lever. I guess this is how it was before. It's like a plastic rubber thingy. And okay, locked in place. Okay. Final test. Okay, goes where it's supposed to go. The next step is gonna be to put the central console in place. Alright, I'm continuing the installation on the next day because it was too dark yesterday to shoot anything, so I left where I secured the shifter lever by one bolt, and now we need to put this central console back in place. Let's try to squeeze it back in place. Okay, I forgot to do one thing. I need to put this key release cable back in place. Hopefully I can do it without removing this assembly again. I inserted it, so I need to rotate it now like 90 degrees, so it's lock itself. Alright, now it's back in place. Let's continue with the installation of this central console. Okay, it's landed back in place. Then I'm gonna need to figure out those connections. Yeah. Technically supposed to put this connector into the cigarette lighter here, but I need to replace this ashtray thing. I'm not gonna connect it yet. And finally the culprit for that thing to fail. Now it goes back and forth. 2 more bolts. Repair complete. So as you can see, it's not always like a straightforward like common problems with the lever like you can find online if you got something like that. So it could be just as easy as like part of like debris or plastic piece fall inside the assembly. So hopefully it was helpful for you to diagnose or to fix the problem with Mercedes shifter. And what I wanted to note or to add is coincidentally, when I was looking for the solution of the problem that I had, a couple people wrote that they did either upgrade the radio or in some way they've been removing or installing the radio. So I think they could also had the same problem as I had. They just didn't know it was like a piece of debris, because this trim is falling apart on pretty much on all the W209s I had. So this is number 3 for me, so it's third one. So 2 previous Mercedes also got the same problem with this trim piece. So I'm gonna need to purchase probably the new one. It's about, I don't know, 50-70 bucks, hopefully no more than that, and I'm gonna replace it. And as an update, I am waiting for the top cylinder, hydraulic cylinder, to be returned back to me, since the cylinder was leaking, and I sent it to the company that do refurbish those cylinders. Probably not necessarily, but probably I'm gonna make a video how I do install this cylinder back, and hopefully the top gonna start to work again. Thank you for looking. Take care.